Hey everyone, Jim Rohn here, and today we're diving deep into a topic that's both incredibly painful and profoundly important. Have you ever felt utterly drained, exhausted from trying to hold on to a relationship with someone who has an avoidant attachment style? Have you ever wondered what truly goes on in their mind when you finally decide to put that burden down and walk away? Today, we're pulling back those mysterious curtains. This isn't just a video about dealing with avoidance, it's about you. About finding peace and reclaiming your inner power after heartbreaking experiences. We're going to explore the complex emotions and thoughts that churn within an avoidant when they confront the reality that you've genuinely left. Do they feel regret? Do they experience loss? Or is it simply a sense of relief? We'll break down the psychological angles, their defense mechanisms, and why your departure might just be the most potent catalyst for change, or not. Brace yourselves, because what you're about to hear might just completely shift your perspective on relationships and your own journey. This is a no-holds-barred conversation, unafraid to face the truth, and I believe it will give you the understanding and strength you need to move forward. Don't miss a single moment of this video, because every piece of information is a key. If you're seeking liberation, clarity, and a path to healing, then this is the video for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more valuable content I'll be sharing in the future. Now, let's get into it. Avoidant individuals are often misunderstood as cold, indifferent, or unemotional when others leave them. But the deeper truth is far more complex. They are not emotionless. They have rich inner worlds wrapped in tough shells to protect themselves from pain. When you decide to walk away, even if they don't show it the way you expect, inside they are fighting a silent battle full of tension and heartbreak. Their pain doesn't roar like the storms of emotion we often imagine. They rarely expose their wounds or show weakness openly. Instead, they withdraw, close their hearts, and keep a safe distance as a way to avoid shattering. This isn't rejection of emotion, but a sophisticated survival strategy. They fear that if they open up too soon, they will be hurt even deeper, and that pain could overwhelm them. Avoidants do fear being left behind, lost, and unloved, but their way of showing this anxiety is different. Instead of running to you for comfort, they might pull back, stay silent, or even seem indifferent. This can confuse, hurt, and leave you feeling unimportant. But the truth is, they're protecting themselves, caught between wanting closeness and being terrified to show it. Here's what I want you to truly understand. Even if avoidants make you feel rejected or abandoned, you are not the sole cause or the only one to blame. Their distance is not meant to hurt you, but to guard themselves against deep pain. And that doesn't mean they can't learn to open up or change. Change takes time, patience, and often starts with themselves, not with you. This is also the moment you must honor and uphold your own worth. You deserve love, attention, and respect. Choosing to walk away isn't selfish. It's an act of self-respect and clear recognition of your emotional needs. When you set firm boundaries and refuse to be left hanging in uncertainty, you show emotional maturity and profound self-worth. Understanding avoidant psychology is not about chasing, clinging, or trying to force change at any cost. It's about seeing the truth clearly, so you don't get trapped in an endless cycle of pain. You don't have to sacrifice your peace for someone who isn't ready or able to meet your needs. Because in every relationship, consistency, sincerity, and emotional safety are the foundation for love to grow. If your partner can't offer that, letting go is not failure. It's a brave step to protect your soul and build the life you deserve. I share this with deep respect for you and empathy for avoidants, who also carry pain and limits. But you deserve to be a priority, to live with respect and peace. Sometimes, to achieve that, you must decisively walk away from relationships that cost you too much. Remember, maturity and self-respect don't come from holding on to what's not yours, but from knowing when to let go and stand up for yourself. When you do, you protect your heart and open the door to new opportunities, healthier, fuller relationships that truly honor your worth. When your partner decides to walk away, an avoidant doesn't just remain silent or cold. They go through a complex series of emotional stages, very similar to the grief process anyone experiences after losing something precious. The first stage is denial. They don't want to believe that the person truly will leave. For avoidants, denial is not just rejecting reality, but a way to keep their inner world from shattering all at once. They might tell themselves, "This is temporary. or "we've broken up before, it will happen again." This defense mechanism helps them avoid facing overwhelming pain, because admitting the departure means confronting feelings of helplessness and loneliness they constantly try to avoid. As reality slowly sinks in, avoidance may enter disbelief and confusion. They begin questioning what went wrong, blaming themselves or their partner. These thoughts aren't weakness, but expressions of a soul trying to make sense of and process the chaos inside. The confusion and pressure can push them into intense stress, making communication harder and driving them deeper into their private worlds. At this point, avoidants usually don't express anger or clinginess like other attachment styles, but that doesn't mean they aren't feeling intense emotions inside. Instead of outwardly showing it, they tend to blame themselves or go silent, seeing this as a way to control feelings and avoid further pain. They fear exposing vulnerability, so rather than face it, they choose to avoid or even distance themselves from the person they once felt close to. This is the cycle avoidants often get trapped in, torn between craving connection and fearing hurt. They protect themselves by withdrawing. Because of this, your decision to leave can throw an avoidant into inner chaos, even if outwardly they seem calm. They may feel out of control, lost, and deeply shocked, as separation shakes their emotional defenses and private world. They're forced to confront emotions they have long suppressed: loneliness, fear of rejection, and loss of security. This is far from easy. In that moment, avoidants might try to avoid contact, keep distance, or even ignore your departure. But don't mistake this for apathy or coldness. It's their way of shielding their hearts from further pain. They don't want to feel completely abandoned, but don't know how else to handle the emotions, so they temporarily disappear into their own darkness. However, it's crucial to remember, these emotional stages aren't a sign for you to return or keep enduring a hurtful relationship. Rather, this is when you need to hold strong to your self-respect and your decision. Maturity isn't about holding on to someone who isn't ready or able to meet your needs. It's knowing when to let go to protect your own worth. Walking away is a vital step in your journey of self-love and soul protection. You don't need to endure uncertainty or disrespectful distance to keep a relationship. You deserve clarity, honesty, and safety in love. Avoidance may need time to understand and change, but it's not your responsibility to wait indefinitely. Your decisiveness is a powerful reminder of your value, are not second choice, not someone to be forgotten. When you maintain boundaries and honor yourself, you not only protect your heart but create space for healthy relationships that truly nurture and respect you to enter your life. Remember, loving yourself isn't selfish. It's essential for living fully and happily. After going through the stages of grief, avoidants often try to escape the pain by retreating deeper into their own private world. This is not an intentional rejection of you, but a defense mechanism to prevent further hurt. They may reduce contact, avoid deep conversations, or limit intimacy, making you feel abandoned, rejected, or even forgotten. This is one of the greatest challenges of loving someone with an avoidant attachment style, because you not only face the possibility of loss, but also feel isolated and disconnected within the relationship itself. This withdrawal can be very subtle, leaving no obvious traces besides an increasing distance. They may speak less, not reply to messages, or simply participate less in shared activities. Yet inside, they are struggling with chaotic emotions they are not ready or able to express. Their pulling away isn't because they don't love you anymore, but because they fear if they open up too deeply, they will lose control and get hurt too much. However, from the outset, especially for those with secure or anxious attachment styles, this withdrawal feels like a sharp blow to the heart. It creates feelings of abandonment, betrayal, and being unvalued. This often leads to reactions from the partner like pressing, calling incessantly, or trying to cling at all costs, which unintentionally increases the avoidance pressure, suffocation, and desire to pull back further. This is the painful cycle between avoidance and anxiously attached partners. The more you try to get close, the more you push each other away. In this situation, the most important thing to remember is that an avoidance withdrawal is not a personal rejection or a deliberate attempt to hurt you. It's their way of protecting their emotions when they feel most vulnerable and insecure. You may feel lonely and desperate facing silence or distance, but that's exactly when you must hold on to your self-respect and understand that you deserve to be treated with respect and fairness. Maintaining calmness and not chasing after an avoidant while they retreat is the best way to keep your position, while giving them space and time to process their emotions. You cannot force someone who is protecting themselves to open up if they're not ready. But you can set clear boundaries, protect your heart, and show respect for yourself. This not only helps you avoid further harm, but also prevents falling into harmful emotional dependency patterns. Moreover, remember that love is not about clinging or chasing, but about mutual respect and sharing. If you're not met with sincerity and effort, you should not feel guilty putting yourself first. Because when you maintain self-respect and refuse to be left in silence, you build a foundation for a healthy life where you are truly valued and loved. Transitioning to the next part, it's crucial to understand that when an avoidant pulls away, it's not necessarily the end of the relationship if you respond wisely. But you must also prepare yourself that they may not always be ready or able to meet your needs. Temporary distance might be their way to protect themselves, but it can also signal inconsistency and lack of commitment in the relationship. That's when you need to face the truth and make choices for yourself based on self-respect and self-worth. When an avoidant quickly shifts into a state of detachment, many people might mistakenly believe they've completely moved on or no longer have feelings for their ex. But the truth is much more complex. This detachment is actually a protective armor they use to manage their pain and maintain emotional safety. It's a way to avoid being overwhelmed by negative feelings they are not ready or equipped to handle. Avoidants don't stop feeling. Rather, they learn to keep their emotions in check to prevent deeper hurt. This detachment also serves as a way for avoidants to keep enough distance to avoid vulnerability or emotional dependence. They don't want to lose control or be overwhelmed by painful emotions they cannot process at the moment. That's why they may appear indifferent or withdraw quickly. It's a self-protection effort, not a sign of emotional absence or coldness. It's a complex strategy to stay calm and avoid situations they fear might cause them significant pain. This can be deeply hurtful for the people around them, especially those with anxious or secure attachment styles. They might interpret detachment as coldness, indifference, or even betrayal. But in reality, avoidants still carry deep feelings inside. They just don't know how to express them or choose to protect themselves by pulling away. They're struggling internally between the need to be loved and the fear of being hurt. On another level, detachment can signal uncertainty in the relationship. Avoidants may not be ready or fully trust enough to open up. When they don't feel safe, they pull back to avoid further hurt. This is a sign that calls for your empathy and understanding, rather than pressure for them to immediately meet your emotional needs. To navigate this state, you need to practice patience and respect their space, while firmly maintaining your own boundaries. It's crucial not to lose your self-worth by desperately trying to pull them back, or sacrificing your happiness to keep an unbalanced relationship alive. Detachment isn't always a sign of relationship death, but if not addressed healthily, it can lead to permanent distance. You can show patience by giving them time to face their emotions themselves, rather than pushing for immediate change. At the same time, you should be clear and honest about your own needs, not to pressure them, but to uphold respect and protect yourself. Show that you care, but won't accept being left behind in silence or prolonged distance. If you can balance respecting the avoidance space and maintaining your boundaries, you create an opportunity for the relationship to grow in a healthier direction. However, you must also accept that not everyone is ready or capable of entering a healthy, sustainable relationship right away, and that's not your fault. Transitioning to the next part, once you understand how avoidants use detachment as a protection mechanism, you'll see how crucial it is to establish emotional boundaries and clear communication. This is the key to avoiding the endless cycle of waiting and hopeless hope. In the next section, we will explore how a securely attached, self-respecting person communicates, holds boundaries, and protects themselves when facing an avoidant who is in this detached state. Avoidants rarely express negative emotions like anger or clinginess directly, unlike other attachment styles. Instead, they keep everything inside, creating an outer shell that can appear calm, sometimes cold or distant. But don't be fooled by that exterior. Inside that shell is a soul that feels confused, anxious, and deeply afraid of losing control when their relationship is threatened or faces the risk of falling apart. They don't know how to show these emotions, or they fear that if they do, they will get hurt even more. The fear of losing control is one of the biggest fears for avoidants. They constantly strive to maintain control in the relationship to feel safe. When you decide to leave, it's not just a physical departure, but a profound emotional loss of control for the avoidant. This can throw them into confusion, intense anxiety, even disorientation. But instead of showing this outwardly, they choose silence, avoidance, or complete withdrawal. This is why avoidants often leave their partners feeling confused and hurt. You might expect anger, explanation, or open conversation, but instead, you get silence or coldness. This silence doesn't always mean they don't care. Sometimes it's the only way they know to handle the inner chaos without becoming overwhelmed. They avoid conflict and intense emotions because they fear it will make things worse or trap them in a cycle they cannot escape. If you truly want to understand and support an avoidant, it's crucial to learn to recognize and respect their emotional boundaries. Don't force them to open up or express emotions before they're ready. Instead, create a safe space where they can feel comfortable and gradually learn to accept and share their feelings. Your patience and empathy are the foundation for rebuilding trust and deeper connection. However, this doesn't mean you have to sacrifice yourself or wait indefinitely. You have the right to be loved, treated with respect and sincerity. When an avoidant maintains prolonged emotional distance without signs of change, you must courageously face the truth and set clear boundaries for yourself. This protects you from prolonged harm and demonstrates emotional maturity and self-respect in the relationship. Holding your boundaries also helps you avoid falling into patterns of emotional dependency or unrealistic expectation. You can't force someone who's not ready to open up to meet your needs immediately, and you shouldn't lose your own value by trying to hold on to someone who can't provide emotional safety. Self-respect and self-worth are the first steps toward true happiness, even if that means letting go and walking away. When you balance patience and firmness, understanding and boundaries, you create a space where both can grow, or at least where you protect your soul from unnecessary pain. This is the power of self-respect, loving yourself enough not to accept less than you deserve. Transitioning to the final part, once you understand the hidden emotions and how avoidants protect themselves through silence and distance, we'll explore how you can communicate safely, clearly, and respectfully when dealing with an avoidant. The next section will be crucial for helping you maintain inner peace and build a healthier journey in your relationships. One of the most important pieces of advice when dealing with an avoidant partner is to avoid trying to force them to change immediately or chasing after them in desperation. Avoidants cannot be pushed to open up or commit before they are truly ready. Any form of pressure will only make them feel threatened and withdraw even further, increasing emotional distance. Instead, you need to learn how to maintain clear boundaries, stay firm in your values and emotional needs, and allow them the necessary space to process their feelings in their own way. Setting clear boundaries doesn't mean being rigid or cold. It's an act of respect both for yourself and the avoidant partner. It helps you avoid unnecessary hurt and keeps the relationship from falling into cycles of dependency or instability. By establishing healthy limits, you send a strong message that you know your worth and won't accept unfair treatment. It also helps the avoidant understand that if they want to keep the relationship, they need to step up with genuine commitment and effort, rather than letting things drift in ambiguity and avoidance. The space you allow the avoidant isn't just physical distance or time, but also a mental and emotional space where they can safely explore and accept their suppressed feelings. Meanwhile, you can focus on building and strengthening your own self-worth through self-care, nurturing hobbies, connecting with sincere friends, and developing emotional independence. When you're grounded in yourself, you're less likely to be caught in emotional turmoil and can maintain peace within. Firmness and boundaries are not tools to punish the avoidant, but ways to protect yourself from prolonged instability and pain. You cannot control their emotions or actions, but you can control your reactions and the limits you set for yourself. This is maturity and love-loving without losing yourself. Patience is also essential. Avoidants may take a long time to recognize and deal with their emotions because they are accustomed to hiding or avoiding them. What's important is not letting the weight become a burden that drains your spirit. You should have clear periods to assess the situation and your feelings, and decide whether the relationship remains healthy and worth continuing. Remember, the space you give to the avoidant doesn't mean you wait forever. You have the right to set time limits and levels of commitment. If after a sufficient period there is no change, you must courageously face the truth and choose the best path for yourself, whether that means continuing or letting go. Transitioning to the final part, now that you understand how to maintain boundaries, stay firm, and allow space, the next section will focus on how you can communicate clearly, honestly, and respectfully with an avoidant partner. This step is key not only to protect your peace, but also to create conditions for the relationship to either grow healthily or end gracefully. In conclusion, on the journey of understanding and loving an avoidant partner, the most important thing to remember is your own value and self-respect. Avoidance may not be easy to understand or walk alongside. They have fears and defenses that you cannot change overnight. But you always have the right to hold firm boundaries, stay true to your needs, and walk the path toward the happiness you deserve. Maturity in love is not about holding on to someone who isn't ready or able to provide emotional safety. It's knowing when to let go to protect your heart. Letting go is not failure, it's an act of self-respect, courage, and honoring yourself. You deserve to be loved fully, treated with sincerity and respect. Never lose yourself in overwhelming or unbalanced relationships. When you maintain peace within and set clear boundaries, you create space for healthier, more sustainable relationships that truly deserve you. Thank you for watching and taking the time to listen. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share so more people can become aware of self-respect and how to love themselves properly. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and you can move forward with strength and peace in your heart.